Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Sit down.
So today, I'm going to be teaching you guys about the depths of language and what languages are and some of the first languages. So I wanted to make this slideshow because ever since we started taking language classes in 7th grade, I really been interested in learning them. And this is just to expand my knowledge about languages. So, starting off, we need to know what a phylogenetic tree is. A phylogenetic tree just shows all common ancestors, shows descendants who all have a common ancestor and like the path of that. Starting off at the top, you have the common ancestor that all descendants have, and at the bottom are the descendants. All intersections and corners are called clades, and those are where languages kind of trail off. Starting off, like West Germanic is the first, and then the clade cuts off here into Anglo-Frisian, and then it cuts off into Frisian English. This is a map of Indo-European languages, starting primarily in Europe, in the European area, and through European conquest to Asia, Australia, Southwest Asia, and the Americas, and the majority of Russian area and other Eastern European areas. This is a map of Sino-Tibetan languages starting in Southeast Asia, working into Western and Eastern China with their respective dialects, and then farther south into like Laos and Thailand. This is a map of Afro-Asiatic languages, starting in Africa. My research didn't cover exactly where in Africa, but it started kind of, I guess, in Central Africa and worked its way to like Arabia, Northwest Africa, and Ethiopia. And then this is Austronesian languages, starting in way Southeast Asia, in like Singapore and Malaysia and Papua New Guinea, and coming over here partially in Madagascar. So the first languages ever spoken, there's three primarily. There's Sanskrit, which was the first ever spoken language. Egyptian has obviously it's photos and pictures alphabet, and is one of the first written languages. And then Hebrew is an earlier language. It's not the first, but it is still spoken today. So Sanskrit is the first language ever spoken, and it's used by Hindu philosophers in India and the rest of Southeast Asia, and is also used by Buddhist scholars, and is extremely sacred to pretty much anybody who speaks it, and really only traditional monks use it. Egyptian has 5 primary phases: Old, Middle, Late, Demotic, and Coptic. And it started around 3200 BCE. Old Egyptian was the first form and was used by the pharaohs and ancient Egyptians and consisted of hieroglyphs. Then Middle Egyptian had the influences of Arabic influencers entering Egypt, so it became more cursive and it had sort of an Arabic style. Late was practically if you asked any American to write in Arabic with no prior knowledge, but in cursive. That's pretty much what it would be. Demotic is the closest form of Egyptian to Arabic. And then Coptic had Arabic, but was also influenced heavily by Greek as European influencers entered the area. Hebrew is obviously a Semitic language and is spoken by the Jews and the Israelites. and is nicknamed Judean because of the Jewish religion it's spoken primarily with. And it has three phases: Biblical Hebrew, Post-Biblical Hebrew, and Modern Hebrew. Biblical Hebrew has a very small alphabet, and it started around the 12th century BCE. Post-Biblical Hebrew started in 200 AD and was augmented by Arabic and is closer to normal modern Hebrew. And modern Hebrew started around the 19th century with Israel becoming a republic and a UN member, and it had nearly 4,000 words from the previous two phases. Now, many languages spread for many different reasons, which include inhibiting unknown land, as Latin started in Italy, as you can see, and going into many areas that were previously uninhibited by people who spoke it. Colonialism, as kind of like how the English moved to the United States, and imperialism, as dictators and royals wanted to continuously spread their land across the world, are many reasons. And agriculture and migration and immigration to continue agriculture is also pretty big. But the indigenous peoples might not allow you to settle and completely settle it, so you might not be able to transfer your language. And if you do not speak the language and spread it to your children, it might not completely continue forward and it might go extinct. This is Professor Charles Soren Boberg. He's the associate professor in linguistics at McGill College in Montreal, Quebec. And he is the English professor, so I learned a lot of stuff about English from him, starting off with England and how colonialism allowed English to spread to America. And he taught me to compare Shakespeare and Charles Dickinson and their language and how they spoke English. And he recently did a comparison of New York and Californian English between each other and how New York English is different from Californian English. This is a graph from Miss Monastero's ELL class, and how the majority of them spoke Spanish, but a surprising amount spoke English. And I'm surprised Georgian was also spoke. This is a group of Lithuanians from World War II Lithuania. And Lithuania was pretty much extinct from Germans invading the country and Polish immigrants invading the country as well, in which Belarusians also came in. Polish became the dominant language spoken, and German, and it had a German dialect with German also being spoken. And pretty much, I believe that languages are an important factor in today's modern society and how there's many languages around the world. And I think languages are pretty cool. The end.